Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are going to be checking out E-shape major and minor triads with the thinnest string root. It couldn't sound more dry and boring, but this is cool. I still remember learning this. I must have been about 13 or 14, playing in a band. We were doing Brown Eyed Girl, and the other guitar player in the band, John, was a little bit older than me, and he showed me how to play the triads and move them up and down, and it was like, oh man, this is the coolest thing ever. And I was doing mostly lead guitar in that band, and it just made, when I was doing the rhythm parts, I could kind of leadify it a little bit, and it was just great. Every time I jammed after that, I would always be jumping on these triads, and they're really simple. If you've learned your E-shape major and minor chords already, your bar chords, it won't be difficult to do, and it really does sound incredible, particularly if you're jamming with somebody who's using open chords, and you can slide these little major and minor chords around. They just sound wicked. So let's get to a close-up, check out what they are, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how to use them. So here's your big E-shape major chord. It's at the 5th fret, so this is an A major chord. Now, when we're talking about triads, we're talking about 3-note chords. Now, this is only got 3 notes, but a lot of them are doubled. But what I'm talking about here is using just 3 notes, and we're talking about these ones, the thinnest 3 strings. So instead of playing all of this, you might just want to play this. So the first finger is on the root note, which is on the thinnest string. Then you're playing the 2nd string as well, and second finger is going to go 1 fret higher than your first finger. And you're just going to play those 3 notes, just the thinnest 3 strings. You would normally pick these notes out. You wouldn't strum with triads. You kind of can, but it's a little bit more complicated. So what we're talking about here is playing the notes individually and picking them out. Now, that was a major grip. This is the root note, this is the 5th, this is the 3rd. Can you think of how we might change this major grip into a minor grip? What was the note that we had to lower by a semitone to change a major chord into a minor chord? It was the 3rd. So this was the root, this was the 5th, this is the 3rd. So all we have to do is, and there we've got our minor chord. Look at that. So that would be an A minor chord. There's the big one. There's just the little version. Those 3 notes. Major, minor. This was the 3rd, this was the 5th, this was the root. Now hopefully you know that the outside 2 strings are both the same. So this is an E, that's an E, that's an A, that's an A. So if I want a major chord, let's say I want a C major triad. I'm thinking, well, C, that was here at the 8th fret, so I'm just going to put my first finger on the 8th fret, second finger goes up 1 fret above, there's C. And if I want to go to a G, I'm thinking, well, there's the 3rd fret, that would be my G, so I'm going to move my first finger down to the 3rd fret. There's a G. Back to the C. If I wanted an A minor, I'm thinking, well, there's the A at the 5th fret, the minor grip was all in a line, so there's A minor. There's C, G, A minor, F. Now I'm doing this little picking pattern, it's a little bit arbitrary. I'm going 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string, just straight up and down, but I'm using this 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. It's old faithful strumming pattern. This down, down, up, up, down, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, but now I'm going 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. But you could do any picking out of the note patterns you like. That's just a nice, very, very common approach to picking out the notes of a triad. Memorizing the shapes shouldn't be difficult. You've only got 2. You've got this one for major, this one for minor. Locating them on the fretboard shouldn't be that difficult either, although you'll probably find when you take the rest of the big bar chord away, it looks a little different. So it might take a little bit of practice to get used to where you have to move the chords around to, but it won't take you that long. Okay, and it is really such a cool trick. So let's talk a little bit about how they're used. So the first one I want to explain is this idea of using it when somebody else is doing the strumming. So you're having a jam with somebody, they're playing some strumming chords and you want to play with them, but you don't want to just play them the same chords. You could play the bar chords, but very often having the big bar chords and the open chords together, it's a little bit too much and you're likely to strum them the same and it just can all get a little bit tangled together. So using triads is a really, really tasteful way of doing that. So I'm going to pick on that chord progression, like the most common chord progression of all time, C, G, A minor, F. Just because it's really common, but you could use any chord progression you like. So I've got a little looper here on the floor, so I'm just going to play that chord progression now. I always play it once through anyway, before I even start the looper. Okay, and then we start. And stop. Now, the progression was C, G, A minor to F. So C is up here at the 8th fret. G, 3rd fret. A minor, 5th fret. Down to F. You don't have to play lots of arpeggios. You can just play the notes, or you could just strum. Now I meant to play it on the beat then, but I was a little bit late because I'm thinking about teaching and filming, making sure everything's staying in focus and all of that. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like it's late every time. That's okay. You can also do chips. So I'm playing the chords nice and short now. That sounds particularly great with a clean electric guitar. A little bit of delay and reverb. Just experiment. It's just such a useful little trick, this one. It really sounds great. If you learn to play these chords nice and short, so just like play the chord, press it down, and then lift it up immediately afterwards and mute it with the pick in hand as well. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. You get a nice little bit of a reggae thing going on. This is the D, so I'm playing D minor to G minor to D minor. You might do something like B flat, A minor, back to D minor. Oop. So there's another really good example where you're just using this little chord grip, moving it around to follow the song, particularly if you've got a bass player that's like holding it down. The triads can be really useful for that sort of thing as well. So triads are like a great tool that you can use for jamming with other guitar players. Like the most common version of this is having a strumming acoustic guitar and then a clean electric guitar picking out those triads. You know, sounds divine. There are lots of different ways of playing triads. So we've just looked at one major and one minor one, but there's lots of different ones. Again, it's stuff that we're going to cover a little bit later in the course as well. But to start off with, these are the most useful ones, and I think you should be able to get going with them pretty quick because you know the root notes on the thicker string, therefore you know the notes on the thinner string. There's only a major shape, there's only a minor shape. Off you go. Try and apply it to a song. Have a jam with somebody. If you haven't got somebody that you can jam with, use a looper pedal. Pick a chord progression, strum the open chords, and then figure out where those triad grips are going to be and have a go at playing them. It really is an amazing thing to get together. At first, most people find it a bit of a struggle to jump to the new chords and find them quickly enough, but that's just down to practice. And the more different songs you do and the more you get used to just jumping to the chord and go, oh, I want a D minor. Oh, there it is. Okay, I want an F sharp major. I want a B flat minor. And you can just go name the chord and then grab to the shape straight away. That's just a practice thing. It's just going to take time doing as many different songs as you can, jamming as much as you can. You know, if you're not doing it already, playing with another human, working with another musician, learning from each other, playing together, learning to feel the music together. You learn a lot together as well. Like everyone learns different things and gets comfortable with different things sooner. So like you might be finding this moving the triads around real simple, but they're really struggling with the time and you can help each other, you know. So yeah, getting together with another musician to actually put this stuff into practice is something that I think is something really valuable that I strongly recommend you get into. Right at this minute, we're just coming out of the COVID crisis. Who knows, you might be watching this video in 10 times and this will be ancient history, but you know, maybe there's been a new one and there's another reason why people can't hang out. Who knows? But yeah, trying to find another musician to work with on this stuff is going to be a great thing. So that concludes the end of our E-shape bar chord module. Hopefully you're familiar with the E shape major, the E shape minor, the E shape 7. You're hit with the note function of all of the notes in that E shape, and you've had a bit of fun with the triads, putting it into practice with the song. If you're doing the practice routine thing again, you just want to assign a 5-minute slot to doing your practical application of the triads to some songs. It's the best way to learn it. I think many people are going to need to practice actually playing those shapes because they're pretty simple, especially if you've got your big bar chords down already. So that would be your practice routine information. But really, before you move on, I want you to consolidate and make sure you've got all of the stuff that we've covered in this module down and that you're comfortable and happy with it. The next stage along, when we look at the A-shaped bar chords, they're just technically a little bit trickier to do. The minor version is actually really simple, which is good news, but the major one causes quite a few problems for most people when they encounter it. It did for me. I always found it difficult, so that's the reason I'm emphasizing this E shape first, is to really get it solid under your fingers before you move on to the A shape, give your muscles a chance to strengthen before we tackle the A shape one. That's the reason. If you're feeling super hip with all of this, it would be okay to move directly on to the next module if you want and check out the A shape. If you're slightly worried about it, don't be in a hurry. You're much better off having a few skills that you can do really well and feel really confident with and be able to use them to make music than having lots of skills that you've kind of half learned that you can't really put into practical application yet. I don't think that's a good idea. So don't be worried about spending a bit of time, 3-4 weeks, a month, a couple of months, really consolidating these E-shaped grips before you move on to doing anything new. I really hope you're enjoying the course. Do let me know your feedback in the comments if you're on YouTube or on the comments on the website. I do tend to check out the website a little bit more often. If you're over on YouTube, of course, really appreciate that subscribe and the like. I know I say it every time, it gets a bit boring, but it really makes a big difference to the channel if you do those things for me. Let me know, chatting to me in the comments, getting engaged, all of that sort of stuff. Do let me, come find me on social media as well. I'm over on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. So trying to keep pretty active on all of those places. So love to get your feedback. I'd love to see some videos of you guys doing this stuff, and let me know how you're getting on with the course, so I can, what ways I can make it better, what other tools that you'd like me to give you. Always trying to improve my game. So if you can help me by letting me know what struggles you're facing, that just makes everything better. So yeah, really hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You all take care of yourselves out there. Bye bye.